So this is the iPhone XR. And to address the elephant in the room, those are some thick ass bezels, boy. Now, if there's one thing that this phone does, it makes you really appreciate OLED, especially coming from a XS and a Pixel 3 beforehand to this phone. It's not that the screen is bad, it just makes you appreciate OLED even more. The simple fact is, there is $250 in between this phone right here and the iPhone XS. Essentially, $250 for a slightly lesser screen. I think it's worth it. But let's talk about the other compromises that Apple made with the XR. So first things first, besides the screen, is the fact that there is one camera on the back of this phone. And I know that's unheard of in the day and age of 2 or 3 or even 4 cameras on the back of a smartphone. This is ridiculous, right? Not really. I mean, in my opinion, this single camera is actually possibly better than the iPhone XS. Okay, so hear me out. First thing, wide portrait mode. It's a beautiful thing. Now, I'm certainly not the first person to say this, and I definitely won't be the last person to say this either, but having the wider camera on the back of the phone take a portrait mode photo, it's awesome. I mean, this is one thing that I really hope that Apple does with the XS. I doubt they will anytime soon, at least, but it's a wonderful thing to have on this phone. Now, second, I believe that photos taken on the iPhone XR are arguably better than photos taken on the iPhone XS. I already posted about this on Twitter and people think I'm nuts, more nuts than they thought I already was. But in my experience, highlight management is better on the XR. Now, for example, 9 times out of 10, if I'm taking a photo of a sunrise with the iPhone XS, information in the skies would either be distorted or lost, whereas iPhone XR captures that information perfectly every time. So yes, I may very well be going crazy, but I am sticking behind this one. And number 3, since there is no second camera, there's no 2x zoom. Personally, that's not an issue for me since I never really used it, but that is something to be aware of. And finally, let's talk about portrait mode, because unfortunately, portrait mode does somewhat take a bit of a hit with the single camera system. For instance, at least as of now, portrait mode only works for people. Now, I could totally see this changing at some point within the near future, or somewhat near future at least, but as of the moment, you cannot take natively a portrait photo of your dog. Sad news, I know. But that's really all there is to note about the single camera on the back. Personally, I don't find it to be that big of a deal, and also I find a single camera to be way more attractive than a double or triple camera, so that could also be possibly a perk. Now, another thing that is missing from the iPhone XR, and it's kind of missing, not totally missing, but 3D Touch. 3D Touch is pretty much gone from the iPhone XR. And I didn't realize that I'd miss it all that much, and I also didn't realize that I used it all that much until using this phone. But essentially, it's things like pressing in your keyboard to move your cursor around, or even peek and pop. Those are things that I had no idea that I used all that much, that now I do and I really miss. But take that for what it is. Obviously, if you're coming from a phone pre-iPhone 6S, you're not gonna notice. Now, the next item of critique is the fact that this phone is insanely slippery. Now, for reference, I've almost dropped this phone like 6 times in the past week and a half of using this, and I never drop phones. So with that said, I would definitely push you towards putting a D-brand skin on it. Personally, I went for the Matrix on the back of the Coral phone, which I think looks pretty cool, but they have a whole bunch of combos on their website. I will leave that link down in the description. But that's really all the issues that you're going to face with this phone, if you even really want to call them issues. But the one thing that you're gaining, and you're pretty much gaining this over every iPhone ever, is battery life. Now, personally, for me, the battery life is what truly sells this phone. I don't think I've ever actually used a phone that has easily lasted me through the day no matter what I throw at it. But knowing that you have that ease of mind, that you can use this phone through the whole entire day on a single charge, it's magical. But the one thing that I sort of want to finish out on is the fact that I wish that these colors would come across the board on iPhones. I mean, the blue and the coral, they're great colors that I really wish that I could have on the XS. In fact, people have actually said to me that they would buy this phone just because of the colors, regardless of price. So Timmy, if you're listening, please make that happen. Thank you. So that is my review of the iPhone XR. Personally, I think it's 100% worth the price, and you will not be disappointed by this one camera disgrace. That almost rhymed. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Stay tuned and take it easy. Bye.